Hello. I wanted to do a quick video on these Husky toolboxes that I just got from Home Depot about 2 months ago now. And I figured after I get them set up and use them a little bit, I point out some things about them. So first and foremost, the model number of this box is listed in this drawer. And the important one is this V4 right here. 95% of the reviews that I saw on YouTube for this box were for V3. And I'll tell you a little bit why that's important really quick here. So what I could find based on some archived links is that V3 of this box sold for a price of about $800 on sale. And I'd say it was worth it at that price. A lot of people did, and they had very positive reviews. Here's what you were getting with the V3. 18 gauge steel, which is about this thick, 1.27 millimeters. With the V4, however, the sale price, I got it for about $800, and that seems to be the price. But as of, let's see, 2025, what's the date? I think it's May 4th. It's currently on Home Depot for $1,100, not $11,000, which is, in my opinion, not worth it. And this is the 52-inch box, and that's the title that this thing goes by, is the Husky 52-inch box, with these product details buried in the description. So a little deceitful in my opinion, but they've made it 19 gauge steel, which is obviously a little thinner. My calculations say over 10% thinner. So that's a bit of a problem. Maybe the weight rating of the casters is still the same and the drawers as published, but it is a cheaper box. You're getting 10% less material for the same price. And I believe that's how they were able to keep the same price despite the inflation from our past president. And not only that, but it's 8% smaller in depth. The old V3 was listed as 21.5 inches deep, and the drawers were 18.7 listed in their product description. I'll publish a link to these details below. The new box is actually only 17.2 inches deep, published as 20 inches deep, so some more lies here, and therefore it's about 8% smaller. So not only is it thinner material, but the box itself takes up less physical space. It's 8% smaller in depth, which might be a problem to some people. It definitely makes it more of a tipping hazard, but I don't think that's really any concern here. I don't think I'd be able to tip this. The V3 had 2 power strips, an LED light, and a special work surface drawer. The V4 took away a strip, which I don't really care about. Took away the light. That's not a big deal for me either, and no work surface drawer. These are the kinds of things that I'm happy they took away to keep the lower price. I can always add a power strip, a light, and a drawer if I really wanted to, rather than bundling it and increasing the price. But the thickness of the steel, I can't do anything about that. And the depth of the entire unit is kind of a sad thing, especially because Home Depot, being a lying company, buries this in the details and still advertises it as the same 52-inch box. So as you can see, I bought this for $800 straight from the Home Depot floor, and it's been a decent box. I like this top area that I like to keep closed to keep it clean. I'm just your average homeowner, so I can't make a recommendation for anyone that really uses tools a lot, but it works just fine for me. I like this large drawer for my sockets, but it's not quite deep enough to put something like this sideways, which is unfortunate, because I'd love to have this sideways and open for easy use. I'm pretty happy with both of them side by side, because I can really make use of all my all my space without spending a lot of time organizing this. Some people's boxes definitely have a lot more in them, and I'd say I'm not making the best use of the space in these boxes. But for me, it works just fine. Got things where they make sense to go, and I still have even a couple empty drawers hanging around. I think this one's mostly empty. And I came from, this box was full of tools, as well as 3 additional ones that were about this size with a top unit, just crammed full of stuff. So I sold those and was happy to pick up both of these for $1,600. Very happy, especially these deep drawers for some extra stuff. I mean, this is obviously not heavy tools, so I'm just using it for storage in place of like a cabinet. I prefer the drawers. I think it makes better use of the space, but it's more than enough for me as a homeowner to put a bunch of random garage stuff in these drawers. Like, but I don't think I'm making the most use out of them. I still think they're worth it though. As far as the cons, one thing I noticed is you cannot put these completely flush against the back wall because this top piece will open and stick out right here. So that's a small price to pay, but I can't get it up against the wall anyways because I've got a baseboard down there. So not a huge deal. Other than that, the drawer soft close works pretty well, but if I do slam them, it tends to shift everything in the drawer slightly back. Like when it catches and closes softly, some things will move on this surface, but that's not a huge deal either. So I would say I really don't have any problems with these boxes, which seems to be the general consensus of all the other reviews that I saw. And I'm actually kind of glad they're shallower in depth, because I can really press them up against my garage wall and still fit a car in here. So that's not a huge deal to me. I wish they hadn't opted for the thinner, weaker steel, especially how they went about hiding those details. I spent a lot of time looking into these boxes, and that was something I missed until after I purchased them. So that really hurt Home Depot's reputation in my eyes. But I guess it's what you have to expect. So they're going to bury details to try and sell you a product. And if they can fool you, that's more money for them. So way to go, Home Depot. I'd say wait for another sale. $1,100 seems pretty steep for these boxes. The only reason it made sense for me is because they were $800. However, now it might be hard to find at that price. There's a lot of swirl with tariffs, especially Chinese products, maybe including steel, that would make these especially expensive to manufacture. I don't know. I'm definitely going to hold on to these, and I'll probably update a video in the future if I run into any issues. I don't think there's anything else I wanted to talk about besides I'm pretty happy with this. The main thing I just wanted to highlight was the V3 versus V4 differences. And I'm sure they're going to bring out a V5 that is called the exact same product with 20 gauge steel and is shallower, and they say, oh no, it's the same thing and it's the same price. So just be extra careful, watch out for that. Definitely check when you're in the store what model number is printed in here, because that was the only spot I could find it. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. Have a nice day.